So welcome to Data Detectives. In the last two videos, we started with a car crashes dashboard using SQL and Power BI. First, we imported the raw data into SQL, and then we have created a table using SQL queries like create table and loading in file into SQL. After creating the table, we started our data pre-processing work on the raw data. First, we changed the data type of different columns like crash date and date notified, crash notified date from text data type to date data type. Then we perform data cleaning on the rows as data was inaccurate and we want accurate data for our analysis. So we decided to take the data only from year 2018 to year 2022 and removing all discrepancies. Okay. After data pre-processing, we exported our data back to CSV file for visualization purpose. Now in this video, we will start by visualizing all the key parameters and different columns by using different visualization features of Power BI. So first of all, we will import our data. The data that we have stored after cleaning has been saved in a CSV file. So we will import the data. So here you can see that the data has been loaded. This is the crash ID, this is the crash date, and different fresh first crash type, traffic way type, lane count, alignment, report type, and all the columns have been imported. Okay, it is transformed in a table format automatically by Power BI as it understood that there is a separator or delimiter which is comma. So let's load this file. We need not to transform any data here as we have done the data transformation in pre-processing in SQL. So let's wait before loading the data. So as you see that the table has been loaded in Power BI and we have the available columns with us. Okay. Now first of all, let's create a measure table so that it will store all the measures that will be created during our project. So what we are going to do is we will click on enter data. So let's name it measures and name the table as measures table. Okay, now let's load it. So we can see that the measures table has been created. Now what we will do is, first of all, we will sum the total number of crashes. So what we will do is we will create a measure by right clicking on the three dots and select the new measure. So let's name this measure total crashes. Okay, and what will be the total crashes? We will count the number of crash IDs as crash ID is unique and it is not null, so it gives the number of crashes. So we will give count, it will count, and here we will select the crash ID. We will close the bracket and enter. So the total crashes had been created. Now let's select the card. We will be using the card to display the total number of crashes. Mm, let's let's select the total crashes and it will show the total number of crashes occurred from the period 2018 to 2022. Here we can see that for 546,000 crashes occurred in the year 2018 to 22. But if we want to see the actual number, so we can change the display units. Instead of auto, we will select the none option, and it will give the actual number of crashes happened in the year 2018 to 2022. Okay, now let's copy and paste it to create another card, which will be giving the total number of fatal injuries occurred in these crashes. So after removing the total crashes field, let's select the injuries fatal option. So here we can see that we have the injuries fatal option. Let's select it, and here we can see that we have 698 fatal injuries occurred in these years. Okay, so the number of fatal injuries is 698. Similarly, let's again copy paste the same and create one more card, which will give us the number of injuries incapacitated. Okay, so on removing the injuries fatal, let's include this field, which is injuries incapacitated, and it will give the total number of injuries incapacitated. So these are the injuries fatal. This is the injuries incapacitated, and this is the total number of crashes that occur. Okay, so these are the cards that we have created. We can format it later depending on our design and our understanding. Now let's create one more chart. So that chart will be how the crashes are distributed on the basis of lightning condition. So for the purpose, we will use a stack bar chart. Okay, so in stack bar chart there are so many options, that is y-axis, x-axis, legend, small multiples, tooltips. So on y-axis we want to show the lighting condition. So what we will do, we will select the lighting condition and it will be on the y-axis. Okay, let's zoom it a bit. Okay, and we want the total crashes to be on the x-axis, as we have created a total crashes. So let's select it and it will come on the x-axis. So here we can see that we have created a chart that is showing the total number of crashes by lighting condition. From this we can see that the daylight has the maximum number, and then the darkness, then darkness, second is darkness with the lighted route, third is the complete darkness, then unknown, then dusk, and then dawn. So the daylight crashes are in between 0.3 million to 0.4 million. Okay, if we want to show the labels, we can show the data labels also by coming on visualization panel, where we will format our visual and we will turn on the data labels. So after turning on the data labels, we can see that 0.35 million crashes happen in daylight, then 0.12 million in darkness where there is a lighted road. Okay, so this is the total crashes by lighting condition. Now if we want to see the total number of injuries and total number of fatal injuries and incapacitated injuries by lighting condition, what we can do is we can create one more chart, and let's align it somewhere here. Okay, so instead of total crashes, let's remove it from x-axis and select the sum of the fatal injuries. So let's select this. So here we can see that 363 injuries. Here we can see that 363 fatal injuries happened in the darkness, in the lighted road. However, in the daylight, the fatal injuries are 252. So this is the distribution of fatal injuries. Now, if we want to show the incapacitated injuries also in the same chart, we can add the injuries incapacitated here also. So here we can see that it created the legends that the light blue is showing the injuries which are fatal. However, the dark blue column or dark blue bar is showing the dark injuries incapacitated. So 3.9k injuries happen in the dark. However, if we see that in the daylight, the number of fatal injuries were less than the fatal injuries in the darkness. However, the incapacitated injuries are higher in daylight versus the injuries in darkness. Okay, so here instead of showing the both the type of injuries on the same axis, we can change their axis also by using the clustered column chart. Okay, but as we can see that it is much more suitable, as it is giving the total amount of injuries. It is also giving injuries in total, so it will help in further analysis. Okay, so we have understood total crashes, fatal injuries, and injuries incapacitated on the basis of lighting condition. Similarly, we can create the injuries on different parameters or categories. That is the weather condition, first crash type, primary cause, and road defect. So if we want to create it, we can create in the separate pages also. But let us create all the charts in the same page, and we will use the bookmarks and buttons to switch from one condition to another. So to do this, first of all, let us come to the insert section where we will create a button, and we will name it as we will create a blank button. Okay, let's move it here, and let's increase its size, and here and here. Okay, so we are considering, let's create five categories on which we want to show our distribution. So let's create five buttons first. Okay, let's also arrange them. So these are the buttons that we will be using. So let's name these buttons first. So in the style option, we have the text option, and let's write the text. First text will be lighting condition. Second text, the second text in the button will be weather condition. Third button we will create for our first crash type. Fourth button we will create as the primary cause, and the fifth button we will create for road defect. Okay, we have created the five buttons. Now what we will do is we will add the bookmarks. So before adding the bookmarks, first of all, let's superimpose all the charts that we have created. Let's superimpose all the charts on one another before creating the bookmarks. Okay, so as we will be using this chart for all the five conditions, let's copy paste it here only, and instead of lighting condition, we will add the weather condition. So this is the total crashes by most severe injury. Now let's again copy paste it and align it where it was. And now instead of the total crashes by weather condition, we will create it on the first crash type. Okay, so first was on lightning condition, second was on weather condition, and the third chart is the by first crash type. Okay, now let's again copy paste the same chart, and instead of first crash type we will add the primary cause. So we will adding the primary cause category. Now the distribution is done on the primary cause basis. Okay, now let's again copy paste the same chart, align it and so that it can superimpose, and now let's remove the primary cause and add the row defect. Okay, so we have created all the 5 charts that will be giving the total crashes by lighting condition, weather condition, first crash type, primary cause, as well as the row defect. Now we will do the same thing for the injuries fatal and the and injuries incapacitated. So we will copy paste the chart, and instead of lighting condition we will add the weather condition. Okay, so now this is giving the weather condition. Now let's again copy paste and so move it a little bit on the left, and now let's replace the weather condition with the first crash type. So let's add the first crash type. Yes, now we added the first crash type. Now let's again copy paste and move a little bit left. Now replace the y-axis from first crash type to the primary cause. So here is the primary cause. So this is our primary cause. Now let's again copy paste, move a little this side and create and remove the y-axis primary cause and add row defect. So let's add the row defect. So we have created all charts. The charts are distributed by different categories, and we will be displaying the total crashes and the sum of injuries and sum of injuries capacitated. Okay, now now what we want to do is, when we click this button, suppose we click on lighting button, so we want to show we want the dashboard to show only the distribution as per the lighting condition. So how we will be doing that? We will create a bookmark. So let's create bookmark. Let's select selection. Okay, so we will be selecting what we want to see on one bookmark. For this page we will create a bookmark that will be the lighting condition bookmark. Okay, so let's name it lighting condition. Okay, now we will hide this charts and we will display our charts for weather condition. So this is the crashes for weather condition, and this is the crashes, this is the injuries for weather conditions. Okay, so now let's add another bookmark, and we will name it as weather condition. Weather condition. Okay, now for third, we will repeat the same process. We will hide these two charts also, and we will select the crashes by first crash type and the injuries by first crash type. Okay, now again we will add a bookmark, and we will name it as first crash type. Okay, now let's create the another bookmark by hiding these charts also, and we will select the crashes by primary cause and injuries by primary cause. Okay, now let's add the bookmark and name it name it primary primary cause. Okay, now similarly hide these charts also, and the last chart will be the injuries and crashes by road defect. Okay, and here we will add a bookmark, and we will name it we will name it road defect. Okay, we have created all the bookmarks. That is, if we select this lighting condition, we will get the charts of lighting condition. If we select the weather condition, we will get the charts of weather condition. If we come on the bookmark of first crash type, we will get the chart of the first crash type, then for the primary cause, and then for the road effect. Okay, however, still on clicking this button, we are not getting anything. So what we will do is, on coming on the lighting condition, we will come on the action, we will turn it on, and in the type we will select the bookmark that we have created. We will select the bookmark, and on creating the bookmark we will select the lighting condition. Okay, so by doing this, when we click this button, now it will show that bookmark, that is the crashes and lightning and the injuries by lightning condition. Similarly, we will do the same for all. So here in the weather condition button also, we will select the bookmark, and we will select the bookmark as weather condition. Okay, next for the first crash type, we will select the action. In action, we will select the bookmark. In the bookmark, we will select the first crash type. For the primary cause button, we will select the action. We will come on the type. We will create a bookmark, and for the bookmark type, we will select the primary cause. And for our last button, which is row defect, we will select the action. You can see that most number of steps are repetitive, as we have selected the 5 charts to be shown on the same page, as it is reducing our at least 5 pages, and we will select the row defect. Okay, we have included all the we have assigned all the conditions to the buttons. Now let's test. If we control plus lighting condition, it will switch to the lighting condition distribution, and from this we can see our analysis. If we switch to weather condition, it will switch our distribution on the basis of weather condition. Here we can see that the most number of crashes are done in the the most number of crashes happen in a clear weather, then it's, and the second highest is on rain. Similarly, the charts, the injuries also happen highest in the clear weather. Similarly, we can switch it over to first crash type, and we can see the first crash type also. Now suppose if we want to see only for pedestrian, okay, so we can select the pedestrian. So as all the charts are from the same data source, all the cards and and other charts also will be affected. Okay, so for pedestrian, we can see that the total crashes is 13,294, which is also visible from this chart. The injuries which are fatal are 172. The same is visible from the card also, and the sum of injuries incapacitated is 2.4 thousand, which is 2401. The same is visible from our card. So from this we can see that our conclusions are, our charts are correct. Okay, so this is how we create the different charts and display the multiple charts on the same page by using bookmarks and buttons and selection. Now let's come on our second page. So on the second page, we want to show the crashes on the basis of year. Okay, so what we will do is, first of all, let's unselect the selection because we don't need that now. We don't need visualization also, sorry, we don't need bookmarks also. Now let's open the visualization panel, and let's select the area chart. Okay, so here we have selected the area chart. Let's zoom it a bit, and in the x-axis we want our crash date, so we will select the crash date on the x-axis. So crash date has a criteria hierarchy, which is year, quarter, month and day. Okay, now we want the crashes, so we will select the crashes by taking the measures table. So from the measures table we have selected the total crashes. Okay, now the chart is being generated. So here we can see that this is the distribution of crashes on year basis. So for year 2018, it is approximately 1,18,000. Then it's reduced to 1,17,000. Then it further declined to 92,000. Then it again increased to 1 lakh, and then it's approximately constant for the 2021 year and 2022. If we want to go come back to the again bottom level, we will come to the bottom level by coming on the next level of the hierarchy. So this is showing the chart on quarter basis. Okay, now if we come down again, this is showing the chart for on monthly basis, and if we come again down, so this is showing the chart on the day basis. Okay, if we want to expand all down one level in the hierarchy, we can select this option. So here we can see that it is showing year on year basis, and in within the year it is showing the quarterly distribution. Yeah, in the previous charts it was showing the cumulative of quarters, but in here the quarters has been distributed among the years. Similarly, if we expand all down one level, now it's showing on the year, quarter and month basis. Similarly, if we go down again, so it will show the total crashes by year, quarter, month and day. So this is the chart that we have generated. Now we want to add here a dynamic measure. Okay, what will be the dynamic measure? That so here what dynamic measure means is that we will create a measure which will and that measure will be changing its value on the basis of our selection. That is, if we select use the slicers, so we will, if we change the slicer, then the measure will also be changed. So we will use this dynamic measure for creating the calculation or a measure for the current day crashes calculation, for the yesterday crashes calculation, for the month till date calculation, for the quarter till date calculation, and for the year till date calculation. So let's see how it will be calculated. So first we will create a table. Let's create a table which will hold our dynamic data on which our dynamic measure will work. Okay, so let's give the name to table is dynamic data, and let's enter the data. So first will be today, today, and in the next column it will hold the value 1. So similarly there would be next row which will have yesterday, and it will contain a value 2. Similarly there will be month till date, and it will hold a value 3. Next will be quarter till date, and it will hold a value 4. Similarly we have year till date, and it will hold the value 5. Okay, this is our table. So this is our dynamic type table. Now let's change the column name to measure name, and it will, how it will be sorted or how it will be selected. So we will give the name sort. Okay, now in the dynamic data table we will create the measures for all these values like today, yesterday, month till date, quarter till date, and year till date. Okay, so first measure will be crashes today. So if we want to know the crashes of today, we will use the function calculate. Okay, and we will count the crashes ID. So this will be the expression. And what will be the filters? We will create a filter command, and here we will pass our table, which is crash new 2. And what will be the filter expression? Filter expression is in the crash new 2 dot crash date, we will select the date, and it will be equal to the max of crash date dot. Okay, now let's close all the brackets and let's enter. So this is the crashes today measure. Now let's create one more measure. And it will be crashes yesterday. We will use the same calculation that we have done in the previous crashes today, just we will do max minus 1. Okay, so here we will calculate the expression, and it will be count, and it will be calculating the ID. Okay, now we will give a filter, and it will filter the crash new table, and the filter expression will be crash new 2 dot crash date, and we will select the date is equals to max crash date. We will close this, and minus 1 for the previous. Okay, this is our crashes yesterday. Okay, this is the measures for crashes yesterday. Here we are using the DAX formulas. Okay, now let's create another measure which will be calculating the months till date value. Okay, so this will be months till date, and here we will select total MTD formula. Here we will give the expression, as expression will be counting the crashes, and here what will be our date? Date will be crash date dot date. Okay, this is will be the MTD. Similarly, we will create one more measure which will be the QTD, that is quarter till date. So this measure will be quarter till date, and it will be calculating the total quarter end date, and the expression will be count the crashes ID. And what will be the dates? It will be crash date dot date, and we will close it. So it will count the quarter till dates crashes, and last we will create the measure for year till date. So let's create another measure, will be for year till date. So here we will select YTD equals to, here we will use the DEX formula for YTD, and again the expression will be count the crash ID because they are unique for every crashes, and we will give the dates as crash new crash date dot date. So this is our year till date measure. Okay, so we have created the independent measures for calculating the current crashes, yesterday crashes, month till date crashes, quarter till date crashes, and year till date crashes, and it will work perfectly if we want to select only if we want to show them independent to each other. Like suppose if we select one card, okay, we have selected a card, and let's select crashes today here. So if we come on this date, suppose, so here we can see that we are able to change it on the basis of the selection. Okay, as we have selected this date, which is August 17, in the quarter 3 of 2022 there are total crashes of 251. We are able to see this. Similarly, we can show the uh, we can show the crashes yesterday also, the month to date also, quarter date also, and year till date also. Okay, let's remove it. But we want to show a dynamic measure where these values will be shown in a single card, and it will change on the basis of our selection when we select it from the slicer. Okay, so for that purpose we will create one more measure that will switch over between these measures. Okay, so let's create a final measure. So here let's name it crash measure. Okay, and so here we will use where, and we will create a variable selected measure. Okay, and we will give this value as selected value, and it will select the value from our dynamic data table column, which will be the measure name, and it will take today as a default value. So if nothing will be selected, it will show the number of crashes for the today. Okay, now create one more variable, that is where, and it will be a dynamic measure value. It will be a dynamic measure value, and here we will create the cases. Okay, so we will use the switch formula, so it will returns different results depending on the value of the expression. Okay, here we'll give true, comma, if the selected measure that we have used the variable above, this is the selected measure, is equals to today, so it will show the result crashes today. Okay, that we have created. Next will be, next we will copy this and we will create for selected measure if selected measure is yesterday. So if the selected measure is yesterday, what it will select? It will select the crashes yesterday measure. Okay, so it will select crashes yesterday measure. Next, if the selected measure is equals to mtd, if we select mtd, it will take the mtd measure. Okay, again, if the selected measure is qtd, it will take qtd measure. Okay, and last will be, if the selected measure is ytd, so it will take the value of measure ytd. Okay, so this is our measures. Let's give blank. Now close this loop and we will pass return. What it will return? Dynamic measure value that we have created. Okay, this is our complete crash measure function. Now select a card. Let's minimize this a bit and place it here on the above area chart, and let's copy our, select our crash measure for this card. So presently as nothing is selected, it is showing the crash value of today. And now if we want to change this measure, we will create a slicer. Let's create a slicer. Let's place it here, and here we will give the measure name. Here we are available with the measure. So if we select yesterday, the value will be changed to 267 because from the today's date, the yesterday crashes is 267. If we select the month till date, it will show the number of crashes in the previous month. Okay, next it will, if we select quarter till date, then it will show the number of crashes in the quarter till date. Okay, and if we select the year till date, so it will show the value of crashes year till date. Okay, so this is our dynamic measure table that we have created, and we are using slicers to operate this dynamic measure. Okay, now the next chart that we'll be creating is the top 10 streets, dangerous streets, by number of crashes and by number of injuries. Okay, fatal injuries. So let's select a funnel chart. Okay, let's place it here, and here we are going to select the street. So we want the street which are dangerous, so we will select the street. So we have selected the street name. Now add the values will be total crashes that we will select from our measures table. So this is our total crashes, and it will generate a funnel chart for the same. So there are number of streets available. Let's create a funnel chart. Okay, as nothing is visible because there are many charts. Now let's uh, select only the top 10. Okay, so how we are going to select is we want to show only the top 10. So we will select the filter, and here we will select the top n value, and here we will select the top 10, and here we want to add the value by how we will applying this filter. So we will select and place it here, so it will sort the values by total crashes. Let's apply this filter here. So here we can see that the total crashes by street name, and if we see the top 10 dangerous roads or streets by crashes is, first is Western Avenue, next is Pulaski Road, next is Cicero Road Avenue, and so on. Similarly, if we want to create a chart by fatal injuries, here we can place a chart, and let's replace the no, don't replace the street name. Let's replace the total crashes, and we will select here fatal injuries. So here we have selected our fatal injuries. However, let's come here again to filter, and we will want to sort this value with the injuries fatal, and let's apply this. So if we see the street names, top 10 street names with their fatal injuries are Cicero Avenue with 24 fatal injuries, then Ashland Avenue, and so on. Okay, and we can see that approximately 54% is, about 50% crashes happen in these 10 streets only, and rest are less than that. Okay, now again let's create one more chart, and it will show the trend of crashes as per the week. So how we are going to do is, let's select a ribbon chart. Okay, and here we will give the crash date as x-axis. Let's zoom it a bit. Okay, and let's replace C only here, and now let's add the total crashes. So here we are just getting a bar chart with the crashes per year. However, if we now select the day, crashes day of week, and put in the legend, and if we put crash day of the week in the legend, so it will create a ribbon chart. What it is depicting, that the top ribbon always depict the highest number of crashes. So if we see different years, so Friday has the highest number of crashes in every year. So we can find the reason why there is highest number of crashes on Friday for every year. We can find the trends of the traffic, and also, and then in the 2018 year, Monday was the second highest, but it got reduced to uh, sixth position in year 2019. It remained in sixth position. However, its value reduced. Here in the transition, we can see the change, that is, it reduced by 4200 in value. However, it reduced by 25.54% in percentage. And here we can see that Monday ranks 6 in 2019 and also ranked 6 in 2020 also. However, here we can see that for Saturday it rise to second highest, then it reduced to it got reduced to the second highest in 2020 also, and it remained second highest day for crashes in every year. Okay, so this is the benefit of ribbon chart. We can see the trend by day also. Now if we want to see the trend in the direction wise, so we can see the trend the direction wise also. Let's copy this chart. Let's copy this chart and let's paste it here. And instead of crash day of the week, we will select traffic direction, street direction. So on selecting the street direction, here we can see that for the year 2008, 2019 and 2018, in most of the crashes happen in the west street direction. Then it reduced to second highest in the year 2020-21. Then it becomes highest in the year 2020. Similarly, the last rank remains for east direction throughout all the years, and so on. Okay, and the last chart we will be seeing is that by seeing the trend in the crashes, let's again copy paste it. And instead of crash day of the week, we will see the report type. Okay, on selecting the report type, we can see that in the year 2018-19 the reports are created not on scene, but they were the DEX report. Okay, and less values were for the on scene report. However, the trend changes for the year 2020-21, where the reports are generated on scene, and less reports were generated on desk. However, again the trend changes in year 2022, where the not on scene desk reports are higher than the on scene desk reports, on scene reports. Okay, so this is our car crashes dashboard. The minute formatting, like changing the title, bringing the name of the title in the middle, selecting the font size, can be done by yourself also. And you can add the heading also for our dashboard. From these charts we can generate various insights, like how the crash is happening as per the different conditions. Here we have, in the first chart, we have added 5 conditions. However, we can add multiple of conditions to understand the crashes and injuries by each and every condition. Okay, we have created the buttons, and we have used the bookmark option. to change the charts. We have created the cards for total injuries, by fatal injuries and by incapacitated injuries, as well as the total crashes. In the second chart, we have saw the crashes by year, month, quarter and day. In this format also we can add one more thing by using a button. And in button, what we can add is we can add the uh, bookmark for each button. Okay, now this is the funnel chart. By giving the top 10 dangerous roads by their number of crashes and by number of injuries fatal, we can see that there are other injuries also, that is non incapacitated injuries. We can show its distribution depending upon the requirements of the client. However, we can also show the injuries that were reported but not evident also. We can also show the total injuries also. Okay, however, these are the most important injuries. So to understand, to improve the road, to improve and make the roads better, so we have used these two injuries as our display. Okay, then we have seen the trend by day wise on the number of crashes, by street direction wise, as well as by report type. Okay, so this was our Power BI dashboard that we have created. In the next part, what we will do is we will validate our results that we have created in our chart using SQL queries. Okay, and this will complete our project on SQL and Power BI. Thank you.